Hey folks, welcome back to another video. This one is all about tree bases. Now, I personally don't like making my own trees. They're a thing I will always buy if possible. So in this one, I'm going to show you how I base some of them up onto their stands for putting on a table. So what you want to do first is you want to take your same foam as always, the 8mm foam boards. You want to lay out some of the trees or just draw some shapes that you think look big enough to the size you like. You can always space out the trees on the sheet as well once you've drawn out your shapes, and then once that's done and you've got your layout done, then you can just move on to the next stage and start some cutting. So stage 2, here we go. Time to start cutting once you've decided all the base shapes you want. You take your knife, whatever you choose, craft knife, scalpel, favourite flavour, take your pick. Once you start cutting away the bases, a little bit of precision is needed here for some of the curves, some of the nicer shapes. The foam usually cuts fairly well with a sharp enough blade if you start to put wiggles into it. Sometimes you need to just change that blade to sharpen it up, keep things going nice. And then once you cut out your shapes, you bevel off all the edges to give you a nice smooth little ramp to run them on level to the boards for wherever you want to put them down later on once we keep going. And remember, these are knives, so let's be safe and be careful. Don't want to lose any fingers or fingertips or have any unexpected trips to A&E just because of some hobby time. It's meant to be a pretty safe one, standing playing with little figures on a table. Stage 3, here we go. Once you've got your shapes cut out, all the beveling done, and you've got your ready to go, move over wherever you do your messy stuff. I have a nice separate painting table with an older cutting mat I like to use for this stuff. So you want to use the same sealant paint here I use for all the rest of the stuff. You can use whatever sealant you like, the Mod Podge or spray paint, a base primer, whatever you like. As long as it's foam safe, if it comes out with spray tin, you'll be good to go. And then what you want to do is you want to just slap your sealant on, get all the tops done, all the surfaces done. Once you get the top surface done, remember to come back once the top surface dries, flip them over and paint the bottom as well, just to seal that foam in entirely, give you a nice rigid strong base, just so to reduce any warping or any likelihood of damage later down the line once you get using them and throwing them onto tables. And once you have them all painted up and they're all dried up onto this stage, it's off onto the next one. Here we are, stage 4, ready to go with some painting. Just get your nice base colour down. Here's a burnt umber, or any dark brown. Cheap craft paint will do. This doesn't need to be anything expensive. Go to your favourite discount craft shop, buy up all the paint you like for a couple of quid a bottle, £1 a bottle. That's all you need for this stuff. Once you go on to stage 5, you want to get your dry brush out. Technically some of this stuff is maybe a little more wet brushing, dry brushing, just to add a little bit of texture and a little bit of colour variation here and there that will shine through a little in any areas where you leave the flock. A little thinner in the next couple of stages. Again, you just want to take your wet brush or your dry brush to add these extra terrain features and kind of layers to what you've got down. You can add, I use a light brown and a beige, khaki colour I think it is, for this one here. And once you've got that done, set it all aside to dry again, then we can move on to the next stage. So here we are, stage 6. Time to get the hot glue gun on, and if you've got a hot glue gun that is anything like mine's, which was cheap when I first bought it, and it has been well used ever since, this is the time where you want to turn it on and let it heat up in the 20 minutes it takes to somewhat heat up. And then in this time, you want to just organise your trees onto your bases wherever you like. As you can see at this point, I have pre-based these trees to add some weight to these bases. I've used some of the spare change out of the change jar that I've raided. I've used 2 pences in this situation. If you don't want to go to the expense of using your change jars supplies, you can use washers or anything else that you like just to base them, to add a little bit of weight, hold them down, keep the balance right. And then once that's done and your hot glue gun's gone, ready to go, just start slapping them down, get the glue on, press them down firmly, and you'll be good to go once that glue's set. Once you get the glue done, I've got a small pile of smaller stones and just to add a little bit of extra attention and detail in some of the open spaces on these bases, some clumps of stones, just glue them down once you're done. Optional extra, I just had some I wanted to use up, so I'm putting them in here. Stage 7, here we go, time to get some flocking done. So for this one, I'm just blending in some of these larger stones that I've glued down earlier. I'm just going to use my my nice mixed tub of fine, medium flock, and then some, I believe there's some kiln dried sand mixed into that tub as well, just for a variation of different sizes of rubble and stone to blend in any kind of stonework or any damaged ruins here and there. So I use that for the first stage of flocking, and then once you move on from stage 7, once you give this a chance to dry, you can, generally speaking, do this all in the same day. This is the same process for all the flocking. You just need to remember to be a little bit more careful when you're putting the rest of your glue and your flocking down in the next stages, if you don't let this stage of flocking dry before you apply more. Stage 8, you move on to your grass tones. In this case, I've started with some dark grass flocking tones here to fill in some of the rest of these bases. Just put your glue down, again, same watered down PVA. Just take your same bottle and a brush, spread it on. As you're spreading it on, it leaves what you've put down that chance to just dry off a little, get a little tackier for when you're putting the flock on. Once that's done, sprinkle on your flock where you want it sprinkled, knock off any excess and spare you don't want from places you don't want it, and then move on to the next stage. Here we are, stage 9. A little bit more flocking to do. Again, take the watered down PVA, put it on with the brush wherever you want it, and I'm just going to fill in some of these other spaces with a slightly lighter grass tone, just for a bit of variation in depth into what's going down for the table, just to make it look that little bit more visually interesting. This is an optional stage. You can leave it the way it was. You can leave it one tone with the bare earth and the tones showing through with the stonework. You can add in some more stony, rubbly flock. It's entirely up to you, personal preference. Just use this for some inspiration, and I'd be quite happy if that's all you ever use these videos for. And then once this stage is done, that's pretty much all the hard work done. You move on to the last stage at stage 10 next. So here we go, final stage, number 10. Just get your pre-mixed watered down PVA and some varnish sealant, and then just spray it on as thick as you like, wet them all down, make sure you get all the flock. This will keep the trees together and the bases down a little bit better, keep everything looking nice and fresh for a little longer. And then once that's done, give them some drying time. Here's a few glamour shots of them on the table, a couple of other different kinds I've made. So if you liked the video, I hope you come back for the next one. See you around, folks.